Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed for the 1,500th time. How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's all great and wonderful. Everything here is fantastic. And this is, in fact, the 1,500th episode of this show. And it kind of blows my mind to think that I've done this for so long. We're going on 7 years, I think, 6 years. Let's see, I uploaded the channel announcement in, I just had this up and I completely screwed this up, but I think it's going on 6 years, maybe 7 years, I don't know. It was a long time ago when I decided to do this, March 13th, 2016, so 6 years. And I thought about what I could do for 1,500. I asked you guys, some of you said, we could do something wild. Other people said, just do a normal show. And I think that I just want to talk about like a retrospective, right? When I started this, I was poor. I was having a lot of financial troubles, and this ties into yesterday's video, so I think it works well for this. And I started this as a side hustle. That's what I wanted it to be. That's what I was hoping it would become. At that point in my life 6 years ago, I was watching daily content from people like Casey Neistat, Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link. I was listening to Lex and Terry was my morning commute. I would listen to their advice, talk show kind of thing. I was watching a lot of maker type videos, a lot of Jimmy DiResta's, and I was spending time down here trying to figure out how to make an extra buck. And I decided I was going to do this thing with YouTube. I looked into monetization, and I realized I had the ability to monetize right off the bat because I had uploaded a video years before. Like in 2012, I uploaded my first video, which was a time capsule unboxing, which now has over 8 million views. And I realized that if I had monetized that time capsule video, I'd have thousands of dollars from that one video. And I thought, at that point in time, like the beginning of 2016, maybe even, I think it was late 2015 was when I first turned that monetization on. I realized I had like 10,000 followers on a channel that had 2 videos, or 1 video. It had, that was it. And I had 10,000 followers, and I had the option to monetize. And I thought, man, if I could gain that much traction with one video, one semi-useless video, think of what I could do if I tried. And so I put a lot of thought into what I wanted to do for a channel. And I wanted to I've always wanted to have a talk show. That was always something that, like, when I was a kid, I dreamed of being David Letterman. I thought I could do that. I could talk to people, I could interview people, I could do whatever. I also thought I liked the Lex and Terry advice portion of their program, where people would call in and, them being older men, they would give advice, and I thought that could be fun to do. But I also really enjoyed the workshop stuff. And so I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but my initial plan, the initial thought was that I would do workshop videos, but also talk on it, like talk over it. Instead of having, a lot of times you'll see people do build videos and it'll be like they're just explaining to you what they're building. I wanted to do something completely different. I wanted to do build videos, or not necessarily build videos. This video is called the Daily Shed because the idea was that I was spending time in my shed every day making stuff or whatever, and I would just talk to you while I was doing that about whatever topic I could come up with. And so I experimented. I did quite a few videos, experimentation videos in those early days. If we look at my oldest videos, starting, I did over 6 years ago, I did a meeple video where I recorded myself doing some meeples. I did some game design vlogs, and then I started for real. I started making some small things. I made an overhead camera rig for this bench. I made a dog door gate. I made a lighted logo for Portal Games. I made little videos, and then one day I fixed this watch. This was my grandfather's retirement gift from the mines. He gave it to me before he died, told me I had to wear it. and it needed fixed. The bands were coming off, and so I decided to fix it. And what I decided to do was turn the camera on and talk about depression while I fixed this watch. That was my first real experiment into this project. That's what's become this thing we're doing today. Was could I talk about something interesting while I fix this? And I did. At that time also, I forgot to mention, I was watching, I've always enjoyed, there was like motorcycle vloggers that would just have helmet comms on, they would ride around and just talk about life stuff. And I thought, can I do that in the shop? Like, can I talk about life stuff while I'm making things or organizing or whatever? And that was what I wanted to do. That was what the channel was going to be about. And so these videos were an experiment to see if I could pull that off. And what I discovered was, technically I could. If you go watch any of those old videos, I made a baby gate for the dog. I made a little camera rig. I made a little paper towel holder. Like, I made little things. What I discovered was making those into videos was really difficult. Like, it took me a long time to edit. And I knew that if I did it every day, I could get better at it, but I wanted this to be a 5-day-a-week thing. That was always the goal. I wanted it to be just daily content where I could talk to you about life. And again, as I've always said all this time, the original intention was to catalog me for my children so that they could always have this back catalog of Dad. They could look at it and go, that's my dad. Like, he did this thing. And they could always look up topics. They could search my channel and see if Dad talked about a whatever to get advice. And I thought I could do that on top of doing workshop work. And I discovered it just wasn't going to be feasible. I could have done it, but it was so overwhelming to start. I wasn't in the right place. But I still wanted to do the talking part. So I sat down and I tried to find it. I used to have a notebook that I made. I used to make little notebooks that I kept in my pocket because I've never been able to keep good notes in a phone. I would make these little folded notebooks, keep them in my back pocket, and I could just write stuff down. I took one of those and I wrote 20 ideas. That was the start of this show. Was 20 concepts that I could talk about for 10 minutes. And I didn't want to start the show without having the first month, basically, the first 4 weeks figured out. Because if I didn't, if I only did 5, I knew it would just, whatever. So I wrote down 20 topics and I started the show. And it went well, I thought. I got to have fun just kind of talking to a camera, and I developed a little bit of a personality on camera. Not to say that I'm somebody I'm not in real life. I'm actually very, very real to this camera. This is me. Like, I don't put on show, and I think that's part of the reason why this never got to be a side gig, right? But we had early success. Within just a couple of years, or maybe even the first year. Yeah, within the first year, we hit 15,000 subscribers. I remember that coming around like January time frame of the following year. We hit 15,000. So I'd already gained 5,000 subscribers from doing the show. And then, and then we hit 20, and then we hit 25, and then we've been at 25,000 subscribers now for like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. It hasn't changed. In fact, we've gone down. We were over 25, we're now below 25, and we're just going to stay there. Because this isn't content that people, normal people, I feel like I'm calling you not normal, but this isn't content that people want to watch anymore. When I started doing this 6 years ago, vlogging was already over. Like, it was on its tail. Casey Neistat revitalized it a little bit, but he didn't revitalize the people sitting in front of the camera talking. That style of video died years before I started doing this. So people aren't coming to YouTube looking for this kind of content anymore, and when they do, it's really hard to find because they're just inundated with over-the-top antics and really highly produced shows. Like, YouTube has turned into a television station where people are putting millions of dollars into videos to make them the best they are, and I'm just a guy in a garage talking to you, right? So people aren't coming here searching for my kind of traffic. And so this never turned into a side gig. And over the years, I've tried various other things. I tried the gaming channel for a while. I had a lot of fun doing the gaming channel, and I honestly don't know, other than I had a really crappy computer that could barely run the game I was playing, let alone record it while I was playing it. I don't know why I stopped doing the gaming channel. I had a lot of fun, and I got a lot of early engagement. But this channel just became a diary. It just became, obviously, you're still here listening, it just became a way for me to kind of vent a little bit. And so the Daily Shed, the duality of the name is always that I'm in my quote shed. This isn't a shed, spoiler alert. This is a one-car garage, and my basement's right there. It was a duality of, every man should have a shed. That's a thing. But also the Daily Shed, as in, like, I get to kind of cast myself off every day and kind of let myself go on camera and share my experiences with you. And so the duality of it became very, very important to me. It became very important for me to put away the talk box. I built a little box, and I used to try to beg people to call in and ask questions or leave comments, and I would play them live, and I would respond. And I used to really try to dig for interaction because that's what I wanted. I wanted that kind of community-driven content that just really kind of never happened. It still happens from time to time. People ask me questions or give me show ideas, and I will cover those topics. But I'm not pushing for it anymore. I'm not asking for subscriptions. I'm not asking you to call me or email me or anything. Every 6 months when Google threatens to shut off my voicemail number, I'll reach out and have somebody call me just so we can keep it alive. But I still have a voicemail. It's at the end of every single video. All 1,500 of these videos has my voicemail on it. Nobody calls that number. Nobody leaves me voicemails. And I've toyed with the idea of just leaving my cell phone number there before because it's just not something people are looking for. But that's okay, right? Because I think what we found was honesty. Like, I started off thinking I could get that, silver play button and have something that my kids would be proud of. I started thinking, man, this could be a side gig where I could make a little bit extra money and help my kids through college or whatever. That dream has long since passed. It wasn't really honestly a dream. It was just a thought. Like, maybe I could pull that off. But what I have instead of a side gig is a really amazing group of friends that come and check up on me on a daily basis. Some of them have seen every single episode of this show. I've mentioned Jonathan a lot. I talked to Jonathan about this show before I started this show. I met Jonathan the year before, and I talked to him about it before I started it. And I said, I'm going to do a workshop show, but it's going to be something a little different. And he said, I'll watch it. And he's been here ever since. Instead of a side gig, I have a group of amazing friends that get to share my life experiences with me, that get to share my triumphs, that get to, feel for me when things are rough, and that get to hold me up and tell me that it's going to be okay. And every time in the last 1,500 episodes, I've thought about shutting this all down because I'm only getting 20 views. I'm shutting it down because I don't have enough time to cover a topic and do a good video edit, so I can't get traffic. I should just stop doing this. Every time I've had that thought in the back of my head, I end up getting up off the couch, coming down here and talking anyway, because I know that's just my insecurities. That's the bad part of my brain telling me that I failed, and I didn't fail. In fact, I think I very much succeeded. I think 1,500, while it's a weird number to herald, I think it means a lot. It means that I've really stuck with something for 6 years of my life and put something behind it. Passion is what I put behind it. And while it may not be a wildly successful financial enterprise, I think it's a really important project for me. And I see no end to it. For a long time, I considered doing it weekly instead of daily. I thought if I cut it down to one a week, I could really put a lot better content together. And I could. I know I could. I could have actual edits. But if I cut it down to once a week, I wouldn't do it. I would do it for the first couple of weeks, and then I'd find excuses to not do it. Now I find excuses to run down here and record this in the middle of doing something else. That's what it means to me. That's what 1,500 means to me. This has become such a part of my life. I don't want it to stop. It's not going to stop. So thank you, everybody watching this video right now. Thank you to anybody who's watched any of the previous 1,499. Thank you to anybody, if there's anybody, who has watched all of them. That's amazing. I really appreciate you wholeheartedly. I know I've said it many times in the past. I love you. I really do. I love the people behind the camera who have pushed me to continue even when I thought I was failing. There was a lot of people that stop in occasionally and chime in and say hi that told me please keep going when I talked in the past about shutting it down. Thank you. Thank you for pushing me, because I think that my past was pretty dark, and without the encouragement, I would have let it all go. And I'm so happy I didn't. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. I'd like to hit 25,000 again. I think that'd be neat. I forgot the exit. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again Monday. Today's word you should know to sound smart is kibosh. It is a noun meaning something that serves to stop something else. Father put the kibosh on my only plans to extend my summer trip to Europe by another 3 months. Kibosh. K-I-B-O-S-H. Is that a... I might say the wrong thing. Is that like Yiddish? Is that... Am I being insensitive there?